Hi, this is Todd Liles with Live Well and with Service Excellence Training. I want to take just a moment and talk about the topic of your heart. And I'm speaking specifically of your attitude and your outlook on life. Your heart is one of the most important things that you have because it's from this source which is going to filter the way that you hear, see, and connect and communicate with the world. And the thing that I want to say is that you have to be careful what comes into your life and what you pour into your body, what you pour into your heart. Because if this were to represent the body, the vessel, this is a cool, crisp, clean glass of water. It's delicious and it's refreshing. And if I were to bring this into my body, if I were to bring this Word of God, if I were to bring this positive influence into my life, what it's going to do is it's going to refresh me. It's going to invigorate me. It's going to make me a better person. And therefore, when I then have an opportunity to take this wonderful part of my life and now pour it to another vessel, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to refresh and it's going to rejuvenate that vessel. But now for a moment, if you would imagine that the opposite of this wonderful, cool, crisp water, which is so good, would be this very dark chocolate and, pardon me, coffee. And I'm a fan of coffee. I actually love coffee. But imagine that this coffee, and there's very little in here, but imagine, if you will, that it was poisons of life. It was negative attitude. It was bad influence. It was movies that we shouldn't be watching, songs that we shouldn't be listening to. And if we were to take that, and we were to take these poisons in our life, and just put but a drop into the cool water, what you begin to see is that it begins to taint the entire vessel. And it just doesn't taint a portion of the vessel. It works its way all the way up. And if we pour a little bit more in there, and I'm pouring so little, but it doesn't take very much to make a very large difference in the vessel. And what happens is when we pour these poisons into our vessel, into our body, into our minds, into our hearts, into our spirits, it has an effect on everything. And now as we go, and once where we had a cool and refreshed friend over here, and we pour that attitude into them, we're now poisoning their body, their mind as well. So what I want you to consider is that you have to guard your heart. And I want you to consider the people that you hang around and the influences that are in your life. Because you can try to be an influence onto them, but the way that leadership works is that it pours down. Leadership pours down. You pour positive influence onto other people, but the way that poison works is it starts from the bottom, the top, and the middle. It doesn't care, and it spreads like a plague. So if you're in a position of leadership, while you're trying to pour down and influence those that you lead, keep in mind that the influence of negativity and poison can go up. You need to guard your heart. You need to come up with filters to keep the negativity out. And you have to be very intentional about not letting that take an effect on you. You might even have to separate yourself from some people. And I know that we're supposed to be called to go help people, and I believe in that. But I also believe that there are times when we have to get intentional about just refreshing our spirit and renewing our energy so that we can go back into that world with the full armor of God. Until we get together again, I encourage you to go out there and be intentional about living the life that you deserve.